Christine de Pizan is frequently lauded as France's first woman of letters, and arguably as the first professional writer in the West. While many men and some women wrote during this time, most produced under the auspices of the church. Christine earned a living and supported a family through her own efforts. This facet alone makes her both unique and has brought many modern readers to identify in de Pizan's works elements of a burgeoning proto-feminism. Critics point to Christine's engagement in the Quarrel de la Roman de la Rose as evidence of an early advocacy for women. Christine's experiences with the quarrel provided an impetus for her to examine the depictions of women in a variety of texts. In her City of Ladies, Christine confronts the masculine voices of authority and their misogynistic depictions of women. She inserts herself into the allegorical vision, which is itself a powerful act of feminine autonomy. The I in the City of Ladies functions as a conscious model for female erudition and rhetorical praxis. Christine's study functions as both the rhetorical setting for the City of Ladies, as well as a site of identity construction for its author. Beginning with her cell, and then through the architectural metaphors employed throughout City, Christine can be seen moving through what French philosopher and theorist Michel Foucault termed heterotopias. A study of Christine de Pizan allows for a deeper understanding as to the means by which power works through her and how her works subverts the dominant power paradigm. One means by which de Pizan challenges the prevailing masculine rhetoric is through her use of architectural metaphors. As a mechanism for training individual memory, such memorial praxis would have been commonplace in masculine-dominated medieval rhetoric. Christine uses these metaphors along with an almost overwhelming number of exempla of women who thwart the stereotypes propagated by texts such as the Roman to construct a heterotopian space by and for women. For this project, I used the theoretical background of Foucault. According to Foucault, we have to know the historical conditions which motivate our conceptualizations. We need a historical awareness of our present circumstance. Foucault found that this historical awareness is facilitated through a recognition of the various spaces that are enacted in a given culture. He found that every society at some point establishes a series of countersites, or heterotopias. The heterotopia is a space that, although set up to replicate normative spaces, is in some fashion still othered. While the heterotopia acts as a mirror of or for the spaces erected by the dominant paradigms, its very existence is a challenge to the ongoing existence of prevailing systems of power. Foucault identifies two primary types of heterotopias, crisis and deviant. The crisis heterotopia, such as a boarding school, maternity ward, or mandatory military service, is most typically associated with primitive societies and rites of passage. Deviant heterotopias, sanitariums or prisons for example, are enacted as a means for containing those whose behaviors challenge or thwart the actions and attitudes deemed normal by the greater part of society. For this project, a multimodal approach was taken for the dissemination of the research and findings of the project. Working in concert with a peer, an accompanying WordPress website was developed to contain individual research, annotated bibliographies, and blog entries, for example, along with 5 podcast episodes. 2 podcasts were devoted to the individual academic interests and goals of the creators. 1 was an experimental podcast, and 2 one-hour-plus episodes detail our individual research for this class, the history of rhetoric. The creators shared a common theoretical interest, Foucauldian analysis, which allowed for crosstalk between seemingly disparate subjects. In this exploration of Christine de Pizan, the medium is most assuredly one aspect of the message. The decision to present the research and findings in a multimodal format, rather than the traditional academic paper, mirrors de Pizan's own efforts to subvert the prevailing rhetorical paradigm of the Middle Ages. writing them from the security of her personal study, which can be seen to operate as a crisis heterotopia. De Pizan sets about to construct a textual deviant heterotopia for women. When she employs architectural memory devices, De Pizan mirrors the practice employed by the patriarchal powers that be. She then proceeds to erect a deviant city, designed to be populated by women who, by their very example, challenge the existing misogynist beliefs about women. A multimodal project is itself a heterotopian space. Multimodality exists as a challenge to traditional approaches to pedagogy and praxis. However, a multimodal product offers participants the opportunity to engage in viable dialectical practices. Through the podcast, the creators further their understanding of not only their own individual research projects, but of rhetoric overall. As members of the Burkean parlor, that ongoing academic conversation described by Kenneth Burke, the creators engaged in a living rhetorical discourse. I would like to thank our professor, Dr. Dominic Ashby, my co-creator, Josiah Coleman, and our classmates for their insights and suggestions. You can find the materials contained for this project at our podcast website, lawnchairacademics.wordpress.com. Thank you.